What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and it looks like Marvel Studios has quite a bit of special presentations planned for us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, yes, Marvel Studios is going to start changing the way that they do things regarding Disney Plus content. We are going to talk about how that could possibly affect the special presentations, but for the most part, we've noticed that they kind of sit separately from the Disney Plus actual shows. And Marvel Studios might have a very specific purpose planned for the special presentations, one that could very much help the future of the MCU as we know it. And today we're going to be talking about 5 special presentations that Marvel Studio has planned or had planned and could possibly have been scrapped due to the writer strikes and just the whole restructuring of how they're going to produce Disney Plus content. But nonetheless, the ones that they do have planned are going to get you super excited because these projects are going to be awesome. So if you love Marvel and want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. And if you subscribe and leave a comment down below, you're automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items as well. The winner gets to pick one item, and we pick a winner at the end of each month. So real quick, we'll just address the fact that Marvel Studios is probably going to be cutting back on Disney Plus shows. Some insiders have stated that we are not going to be getting the same formula that we've been getting recently with the Disney Plus shows. That means no more Disney Plus shows that have 6 episodes and have a $200 million budget. Now, while some people could interpret this as they are going to scrap Disney Plus shows in general, I don't think that's the case. I think they are simply going to be cutting back. In fact, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has confirmed that basically they are going to cut back with how many shows they make and the frequency in which they release them. So instead of doing 4 to 6 shows a year like they have had planned in the past but hasn't really worked out due to things like the writer strike and etc., but they're now probably going to release 1 to 2 a year with a special presentation thrown in the middle there. This is not too much. If you have 3 movies a year, maybe 4 movies a year, and then 1 or 2 Disney Plus projects, that's not bad. That's not too much work, and that frequency is not too much as well. But you can give each project the time and the attention that they deserve and the budget that they deserve. These Disney Plus shows aren't cheap, and if you cut back on Disney Plus shows, then that budget can go elsewhere. But here's why the special presentations are different than regular Disney Plus Marvel Studios shows. With the Disney Plus shows, they have different purposes for releasing them. Some serve a very specific purpose, and some just simply want to introduce a character and not really have an agenda at all. Think She-Hulk. While others set up the MCU in a really big way, like WandaVision and Loki. Well, special presentations are going to kind of serve as introductions for very specific characters who could appear in their own films later on or in another superhero team-up film. Take, for example, the first special presentation that we're going to talk about today, Ghost Rider. Insider My Time to Shine Hello tweeted yesterday, new Ghost Rider solo project was in development pre-strikes. They will move forward with it post-strikes. We have heard rumors that a Ghost Rider special presentation was in development for a while now, but now that an insider is confirming it, it looks like this truly is the case. Now, many Marvel fans know who Ghost Rider is. In fact, even if you aren't a super big Marvel fan, you most likely know who he is thanks to the Nicolas Cage adaptation of him. However, he has not been introduced to the MCU yet, and that is what Marvel Studios and Disney are going to use special presentations for. It's definitely a good platform for introducing really big characters who are going to impact the MCU, but don't necessarily need a 6-episode long Disney Plus show or an entire movie. Werewolf by Night was pretty dang close to perfect. It was 53 minutes long, it introduced us to the character, it showed us a lot of great action sequences, and actually introduced us to a couple of more interesting characters that are going to stick around in the MCU. So this will basically be what is going to happen not only with Ghost Rider, but anybody else that they choose to introduce to the MCU for the very first time in a special presentation. But Ghost Rider is a huge one. In fact, all the ones that we're going to talk about today are huge. There's no doubt that a supernatural side of the MCU has already begun. We have WandaVision, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and of course Agatha Coven of Chaos is coming up, and Blade. Blade is going to be a big one for the supernatural side. And Ghost Rider could pop up in Blade. I'm not saying this is confirmed or rumored, but there is a reason why they would be doing a special presentation for Ghost Rider, because he is about to pop up in that side of the MCU. Now, we also know that Marvel Studios does seem to be building a Midnight Suns team, and Ghost Rider definitely has to be a part of that. We also know, and we'll talk about this as the next special presentation as well, that Marvel Studios does plan on introducing Mephisto to the MCU, and in fact, Mephisto is kind of going to be the big bad of the supernatural side. So that would definitely bring the Midnight Suns together. But speaking of Mephisto, we have heard in the past that they were developing a Mephisto special presentation project. Now, as far as we've heard recently, they might have changed that a little bit. Deadline reported a while ago that they believe Sacha Baron Cohen's character in Ironheart is going to be Mephisto. That is what they said, and then the insiders came out afterwards and said that they basically heard the same thing. However, recently some have come out and stated that they are really unsure about the state of this project right now. We do know Mephisto is going to be popping up in other projects though, and we do know that he is actually the person who bought the old Avengers Tower from Tony Stark. So there's obviously a big story that is going to be had with Mephisto in the MCU. The only question is he going to pop up in other shows and carry on his story that way, or will he get his own special presentation? If we hear any updates about this specific one, of course, we'll do an update video for you. But the next one is a character that fans have been waiting for a pretty long time now, and that is Nova. And we've heard a lot about Nova recently. Unfortunately, we've heard that this project might be scrapped, but there might be some good news that comes with that. One, we've heard that it's scrapped because of the writers and actors strikes, which means once those are over, of course, they could pick it back up. Much like My Time to Shine Hello's update on the Ghost Rider special presentation, how they were working on it before and plan to pick it back up again after the strikes are over, it could very well be the same for Nova. But we've also heard that Marvel Studios has plans to introduce him in movies as well. So if his special presentation is scrapped, it's probably due to the fact that they have other plans for him in the MCU, but reports of him entering the MCU have come out a lot. From major trade companies to insiders who have very good track records, they've all stated that Nova is coming. And we know that Marvel Studios did have plans for a special presentation for him, so if we hear anything about the specific project, of course, we'll do an update. Now, one thing that we have heard about Nova is that Marvel Studios was eyeing Ryan Gosling for the role. Now, it's interesting because recently it said that Marvel Studios was eyeing Ryan Gosling to play Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. And both could very well be true, and let me explain why. Marvel Studios meets with actors about a lot of possible roles that they could play in the MCU. They don't necessarily always meet with these actors for a specific role, but simply meet with them and say, hey, let's figure out something that you could play in the MCU because we want you in the MCU and you want to be in the MCU. So Kevin Feige could have met with Ryan Gosling about Nova and about Mr. Fantastic, and possibly about a lot of other roles as well. But the fact that many insiders have reported that they've met with Ryan Gosling about Nova and then met with him about Mr. Fantastic means that Kevin wants him in the MCU, and eventually he probably will become a character. I think he would make a great Nova, but let us know what you think about that in the comments down below. Now, another one that has been reported to be coming by thecosmiccircus.com is a Silver Surfer special presentation. It's been said that plans have changed for this as far as when it's going to be coming, but the original reports stated that it was going to be coming before the Fantastic Four movie, which makes sense because we've heard that Galactus is going to be the main villain of the Fantastic Four film, which means the Silver Surfer will probably show up. So to have a special presentation before he shows up in the Fantastic Four film to introduce him would make a lot of sense. Plus, not only would it introduce the Silver Surfer, but it would prepare people for Galactus. It would tell them who he is and why he is such a huge threat, for those who might not know anything about Galactus. After all, the last time we really got any glimpse of him was in the Fantastic Four film, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, where he was a giant cloud, if we're not counting What If. And we haven't heard anything recently about this special presentation no longer happening, so as far as we're concerned, that is still their plan, unless, again, the strikes change things. And we do know that the schedule is going to be shifted a little bit because of the strikes. And last but definitely not least, one that I am super excited for is Sentry, a Sentry special presentation. Now, we know that Sentry is going to be appearing in the Thunderbolts. And there are some crazy rumors going around that we won't talk about in this video for spoiler purposes, but nonetheless, I am super excited for Sentry, the man with the power of 1,000,000 suns. He's supposed to be making his debut in the Thunderbolts. However, a special presentation planned for him has been something that has been reported for a while now. But unlike the other ones, this one is supposedly going to be after he's introduced to the MCU, which, if we think about it, kind of makes sense because he's going to be introduced in the Thunderbolts as a part of a team. I doubt they're really going to to go over the origin stories of everybody, since we've already seen the origin stories of pretty much the entire Thunderbolts team. We've seen Yelena Belova's story, we've seen Red Guardian's story, we know Taskmaster, we know Ghost, we know Bucky, we know Zemo, etc. The only one that we really won't know the origin story for is Sentry, and I doubt they're really going to go over it fully in the Thunderbolts, so it makes sense that after that they would do a special presentation showing us how he became Sentry. And Thunderbolts is taking place immediately after the events of Captain America Brave New World, and we know both projects are going to talk about Super Soldier Serum, and that is how he gets his powers. He gets a Golden Sentry Serum, which is basically a variation of a Super Soldier Serum, just way more enhanced. But we know that that's going to be a big thing in Captain America Brave New World, because Thunderbolt Ross is going to be experimenting with serums as well, and he himself is even going to become the Red Hulk. So it all ties in, and it makes sense that they would choose to do this special presentation to show his origin after the events of the Thunderbolts, especially since people will be pretty hyped to see him in that movie and be waiting for another project with him in it. So 5 really exciting characters and 5 really exciting special presentations are in store for us in Marvel Studios on Disney+. Let us know how excited you are for these characters to get their own special presentations in the comments down below, and like I mentioned, if we hear anything in regards to updates on these characters or shows, we'll be sure to do an update video. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Please don't forget to like the video, and of course you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.